you can always tell if someone is producing his own music or not, because a lot of times I've seen guys releasing records after the record before they start DJing. Then they start DJing, and
there's barely a new release out anymore.
Every 2, 3 months, 4 months, a new record, and if it keeps on
coming,
I'm like, maybe there's someone helping.
Welcome back to Your Music Industry Podcast. My name's Daniel Fisher-Jones, and it's my purpose to help you achieve your ambition in music. So on today's podcast episode, we have a trance duo who've been in the industry for almost as long as I've been living and breathing on this planet Earth. So to say they've got a wealth of insight, of experience, is an understatement. We've got Cosmic Gate on the show. So before we get to the conversation, I'd just like to mention how today's episode is brought to you by Liverpool Audio Network and the brand new Studio Art Collection. The studio prints for your studio, for your home, to help you inspire your musical process. And they also look minimalist and slick, and they're inspired by drum machines, including 808 and 909. So they're absolutely fantastic. But more on that later. So without further ado, let's get straight to the conversation from Creamfields with Cosmic Gate.
Welcome Nick and Bozzy, or Cosmic Gate, to Your Music Industry.
Thank you
so much.
How's the journey been to Creamfields today?
I mean, the weather is insane. It's so beautiful, unusual here. We played in Amsterdam yesterday, actually the 4th or 5th show, but we feel quite energized and
still good.
excited.
Started Ibiza Thursday. London Ministry, one of our favorites. As Nick said, Mysteryland, and now we're here.
Yeah, it's fantastic, because I was looking, and didn't a few weeks ago you did 3 gigs in 24 hours?
That was tough. We looked definitely differently than now after that. Especially because there was so much traveling involved. Like just the 3 gigs would have been okay, but we played in Poland. We had to drive by car 5 hours. I don't want to get into this boring stuff, but it was intense. That's why we made it.
But before we get into kind of the 20 years of Cosmic Gate, with touring so much, how do you stay like healthy on the road, or how do you try and stay of good health? Have you found anything that works?
Well, everyone needs his own formula, I guess. At home, maybe try to eat a little healthy, because it's hard on the road. Maybe not have a beer for once. No, just like this. Do some sports, not just watch it on TV.
Yeah, be active.
Yeah, just the usual. There is no recipe to it.
Yeah, but basically be active when we're home, because obviously with all the traveling you can't eat home cooked food, but when we're home we really focus on cooking our own stuff. That helps.
Awesome. So 20 years of Cosmic Gate, that's a long time. And looking back at your early years, it kind of blew my mind as I heard that you initially became friends through Cosmic Gate. You didn't start Cosmic Gate because you were friends. Could you open up to that kind of?
I guess that's unusual, right? Usually guys are like childhood friends, but we had mutual friends at that time. I think I knew him. Like, I've seen him a few times. We talked, definitely. It's not that I saw him the first time.
We weren't strangers or something.
But not friends. And then we were producing with 4 other guys, working on a remix, and those 2 didn't really work out. Those 2 guys left, and it was like 2-3 p.m. In the afternoon, and then just the 2 of us.
That was basically a life-changing moment, because we literally looked at each other like, so are we going to have a nap too, or
should we go home?
What's the deal? And then we just started speaking about it. So we were basically playing in a little bit competing big room clubs, 40 miles from each other, and what's big at your club, and we were just talking music, and then we got on our Akai sampler and just had a wild jam session, and 3 hours later this track was done, forgotten for weeks. And then suddenly, just gave it to an A&R from EMI, and then the next day,
lift off.
There we were.
That was the drums. So we didn't even say let's make a project together or anything. We literally just produced that song, and then we went off, and then we're like, okay, what are we going to do with this now?
Who's going to DJ? Because we were both DJs. So at first we were playing just one guy, and then it's like, oh, where's the other one? Or why isn't this guy coming? And well, you know what? And after a few years, we just said, hey, Cosmic Gate, it's two people, so we're gonna play together. And fortunately, we not only in the studio, also when we DJ, we have a very similar mindset about how DJing works, how to work a crowd, our music taste, most importantly. So, because we, the other two guys, little story on the side, they were DJing together too, and it was just a nightmare because the one went to the left, the other went to the right, just total different styles. It didn't fit at all.
So talking musical styles and the Cosmic Gate sound, it has transformed over the years and it has evolved. Would you say that's down to progressions in like technology, or would you say there's moments where the scene's changed and you wanted to stay kind of present at the front? How's your signature sound developed, would you say?
It's a bit of everything what you just mentioned, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Also, what you have to see that when you hear the albums, there's like a year or two in between. So obviously, as you said, our taste maybe changed a little bit. Some technology comes, but we really love music, also techno, house. So we get influenced nonstop also by music of different genres, and that probably also comes into our productions a lot. And then
and of course, there's when we started, let's say everyone was kind of producing. I don't want to say 138, but it was just in general it was a little faster, and then it went down to 128, and it's just something you cannot totally ignore, or at least we didn't. But
I mean, let's say we always picked subconsciously this when something new was happening in techno and something else, we picked the things that we loved about it and
ignored others that we didn't.
Exactly, that's why I'm saying it, and then put in our music, and that's how it changed. But it's actually we had that conversation that sometimes when we hear an old track, we're like, we don't know what we do differently now. That's the weird thing. We don't feel like, okay, let's do it like this. We feel we're producing the same way the whole time, but somehow it sounds different.
Yeah,
I don't even know why that. It's weird. It's
but it
must be taste and technology.
It's just very little steps that from single to single, remix to remix. Then within 1.5, 2 years, there's a new album, and which is a good thing. If you have a 2012 album, then the 2014 album comes, and it sounds totally the same. I think for electronic music producers, then you do something wrong, because it's about pushing boundaries, and you don't want to tell the same story twice, right?
Yeah, I think it needs to be your ambition to push boundaries and move forward.
That's what art is about.
Yeah.
So talking about art, you obviously, to be inspired and to innovate, you need influences. And in terms of your musical influences, do you listen to just trance, or do you have inspiration from classical, from a whole range of genres?
Exactly. Now you basically said it already. My parents were they loved classic music. They took me to operas all the time and concerts. I'm playing piano since I'm, I think, 8 or 9 years old. We love techno. We love house. Our taste is so bright. Musical taste is so bright. So, that's also great for our productions, obviously.
That's special. Yeah. So for a moment, I'd love to talk about you two as a duo, as kind of like production brothers, musical brothers, because to be together 20 years, there must have been moments where there was a lot of friction. How have you kind of dealt with that? As there's a lot of producers I know who are duos. What would you say to them if they are struggling?
In the end, it's about the project, and of course there's moments that oh my God, this idiot, and you're like, this idiot. It's just normal, right?
I think but for us it was the other way around. In the beginning, because we didn't know each other that well, I felt like more friction, and you probably had the same in the beginning than now, because you don't know how to deal with the other person. But then obviously after a while you learn, and you know what's personal, what's not, and then the thing that we do, we obviously. It's not that we hang out all the time while traveling. You need space, and we feel when the other needs space or not. And it's like very
Actually,
natural.
it's very, very, very easy. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's why it's worked then. So we have a lot of music producers listening, and they always love digging deep into music production. So forward ever, backward never. Personally, I love that title alone. But the journey of creating that album, that experience, Could you walk me through maybe some particular moments in the creation process that you just felt like you captured that feeling of what you wanted?
Say, speaking about the album, what's maybe the hardest for us to write a new single. You write it until you come up with something new. It's cool to remix someone else's music. You hear the track, you get asked for a remix, and
you
then
know if you can do it.
You
or
know
not,
if you can do it. Like our remix for Gabriel and Drayson, we right away had the same idea where to go to, and wow, Grammy nomination. But the hardest thing is to remix a known track, which we did, and which is really time consuming.
Yeah, not for example remixing Not Enough Time. We thought it was like an easy thing to do because it sounded not up to date anymore. So our original thought was, okay, we just like make the beats fatter. You know, like it sounded so easy in our head. And then we started producing it and it didn't work at all in the beginning. We're like, shit, like we love that song and we want to play this in our sets now because it sounded so out of time these days. Yeah. So that really took a while to find the right.
You have to let go from that idea. You've seen it hundreds of times and
so used to
in the club. So you're so used to it, and certain parts you're really in love with, but you have to let go of them to come up with something new. Otherwise, it won't work. And happy how it is now, but it was a process, which maybe was like.
We almost didn't make it. Because we were not happy for a while, and then luckily at the end it worked. But as you said, we knew from the beginning that we wanted to produce some totally new tracks. Actually, in the beginning, we had in mind 1 or 2 more original new tracks, but you're gonna hear them hopefully soon, end of the year.
They didn't make it. No, just all the touring.
Yeah.
That's a question we hear the most. How do you make it into the studio? It's true when you're playing a lot of shows, 3-4 a weekend sometimes.
You always see that you can always tell if someone is producing his own music or not, because a lot of times I've seen guys releasing records after the record before they start DJing. Then they start DJing and
there's barely a new release out anymore.
Every 2, 3 months, 4 months, a new record. And if it keeps on coming, I'm like, maybe there's someone helping, because you can't. If you tour a lot, it's
And I suppose that helps with having 2 of you, as you've basically got 2 people to do that music instead of one person. But so looking back at these 20 years, if you could go back and give each, both Nick and Bossy, yourself, one single piece of advice from what you've learned in these 20 years, whether industry, whether music production, whether personal life, what would that one piece of advice be?
I mean, in general, what we say to music producers, because you said a lot of music producers are listening, is our advice is to be original, because that's what we are trying. Don't follow a hype, because it's gonna fade, and then what do you do then, you know? Like, come up with your own thing, try to be different. Another one is do it for the right reasons, not because you want to be on stage, get girls and drink alcohol. It's a nice side effect, but it shouldn't be your goal. Do it because you love music, and then work hard, like really hard. Because I remember when we started, it was day and night in the studio.
We were working
nothing
in
else.
shifts, basically. Several projects, and Cosmic 8 was just one of these. Until second, third single, Exploration, Firewire, then it was just getting so much, and
awesome.
And try different things until you find
your own sound.
Your own sound.
Awesome.
Very important.
Yeah.
So to finish the podcast, we always have one question we ask every guest. So this could be an individual answer or together. So in the next 5 years, this could be locally or internationally. What change would you like to see in the music industry or in electronic music?
People are a lot like us that are in the industry. We like to complain a little bit about how it is, but when I get this feeling too, I hear tracks and I'm just like, oh my God, this is terrible for my personal taste. But overall, when we started with techno, I was fired in the club I was playing for playing just 20 minutes of techno at night. So, and to see how big techno, EDM now, is these days, so many different genres, and in pop music is so influenced by dance music, by EDM whatsoever, we can be so proud on how big the scene is, with all the goods and the bads. But yeah, I think it's in a great state, and overtook rock and roll. So there was rock and roll, and now there's dance music. That's something I think everyone should be very proud of.
I like to finish on the positive side. So yeah, that's good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, and enjoy your set at
Awesome.
Creamfields.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
We'll be there.
Thank you.